Hello, and welcome back to English Unlimited podcast,
Hello, everyone.
the place where we break down English for you, turn complex concepts into, well, conversational gold,
That's the goal.
and we want to make sure you walk away sounding more fluent and definitely more confident. I'm your host, Charlie.
And I'm Jamie. Good to see you, everyone. We have um, a fantastic, really dense stack of source material today.
Oh, I saw it. It looks intense.
It is. And it's all focused on taking you from that intermediate comfort zone, you know, that B1 or B2 level where you can feel a little bit stuck.
Totally stuck, the plateau.
Exactly. And moving you into genuinely advanced, native-like fluency.
Absolutely. And today we're not just, talking about a list of vocabulary. We are decoding the rhythmic engine of spoken English.
I like that. The rhythmic engine.
We're diving deep into two major and, let's be honest, often frustrating areas for English learners.
They can be.
First, we're tackling the essential phrasal verbs that native speakers use, constantly, especially in professional settings or, stressful situations.
And we're going to kick this off with I think, a surprising insight. Phrasal verbs aren't just vocabulary. They are the rhythmic and a semantic shortcut of our language.
A shortcut? How so?
Well, they account for almost a quarter of all verbal structures in casual and professional communication.
Wait, a quarter, as in 25%.
25%. If you want to sound natural, you absolutely cannot avoid them.
That's a staggering statistic. I had no idea it was that high. Almost a quarter of all verbal communication relies on these tricky little combinations.
It forces us to ask the question, right?
Yeah.
Why? Why do we use them so much?
Yeah, why?
And the answer is, well, it's a mix. It's efficiency, it's rhythm, and it's all about tone.
Tone.
And that rhythmic challenge, that feeling of being stuck that you mentioned, that links directly to our second big topic today.
Which is?
The psychology of sustained language learning. So we're looking at how to keep your energy high and avoid that dreaded burnout.
Burnout.
Yes. It derails so many people right before they reach that final stage of fluency.
And I have definitely lived that struggle. The mental fatigue is real. I was reading a story in our source material about a new employee recently, and they used phrases like, the boss will drum into you.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to drift off at my desk, and I honestly felt like I was drifting off just trying to figure them all out in context.
I can imagine.
They sneak up on you because their meaning is never, ever obvious.
They truly do. And that's our mission today. We want to turn those sneaky verbs into solid tools you can use.
And at the same time, tackle that exhaustion by understanding the neuroscience of endurance.
Precisely.
So for you, the listener, maybe you're prepping for a big career move or maybe you're just feeling that mid-journey slump.
That plateau we talked about.
Exactly. This deep dive is tailored specifically for you. We want to give you knowledge quickly, give you those aha moments, and make sure you never feel overwhelmed by, information overload again. We're giving you the shortcut to being well-informed.
We'll break down strategies for mental resilience, some essential grammar points like the difference between weak and strong advice.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And techniques for immediate speaking fluency. We're extracting all the critical nuggets from our sources so you don't have to sift through the noise.
And just to keep you hooked and thinking, later in this deep dive, we'll hit a pop quiz on modals of advice.
I'm looking forward to this.
We'll test you on the difference in strength, the nuance, and the implication between should, ought to, and had better.
And that's not just about being polite.
No. The difference is critical for knowing how to give strong, persuasive advice, especially when you're warning someone away from burnout. So you're going to want to stick around for that.
That subtle difference in intensity is precisely where genuine advanced fluency lives. It's the ability to choose the right tone for the right context.
Okay, before we get into all that granular detail, let's do the quick but really important thing. Please do.
Please subscribe to English Unlimited podcast right now and like this deep dive. It really helps us reach more learners who want to sound more natural and confident.
It makes a huge difference.
Right. Let's unpack this and let's dive into the first section. We need to decode these advanced phrasal verbs.
Let's do it. So let's start with a quick but necessary review of the mechanics.
Okay, the basics.
The sources remind us that a phrasal verb is essentially a verb plus a preposition or an adverb particle.
Or sometimes two.
Or sometimes even two, yes.
Like, switch off the light. That means to stop it working. That feels manageable.
It does.
Because the meaning there is pretty close to the literal meaning of the two words combined. You switch something and it goes off.
That's the easy part. That's what we call a literal phrasal verb.
Right.
The difficulty and the reason they are so essential to sounding native is because they often become idiomatic.
Idiomatic. Okay, what does that mean exactly? It means the combination of words creates a completely new, unpredictable meaning that you just cannot guess from the individual parts.
Ah, so the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Exactly. And this happens in about 70% of high-frequency phrasal verbs.
70%. So most of them are the tricky ones.
The vast majority.
Okay, so if I say, I'm glad you turned up today, I don't mean you rotated upward against gravity.
Precisely. You see, you already know it.
Yeah.
In that specific context, to turn up means to appear or to arrive.
Right.
And native speakers rely on these constantly, especially in casual and spoken English, because they're just more dynamic. They're less formal than their single-word counterparts.
I suspect native speakers rely on them purely for efficiency, but sometimes they seem more complex than the single-word alternative. Is that purely a rhythm thing, or is there some other benefit I'm missing?
That's a great challenge to the idea, and you've hit on the nuance. It's largely rhythmic. They just flow better in fast speech.
Okay.
But the semantic benefit is tone. Phrasal verbs often provide a single punchy phrase for a concept that would otherwise require, multiple words or sound way too formal.
Okay, give me an example of that tonal shift. I want to hear it.
Okay, compare these two sentences.
Yeah.
We need to investigate this problem immediately.
Right, sounds very formal, like a police detective.
Exactly. It sounds like a police report. Now compare that to, we need to look into this problem right away.
Look into. It's softer.
It's softer, more collegial, more natural in a meeting.
Or faster.
And faster to say in a conversation. So by mastering these, you gain control over the rhythm and the required tone.
So mastering them is essential for navigating real-life interactions without sounding like you're, reading from a textbook.
That's the perfect way to put it.
Understood. Okay, let's unpack our first set. Let's focus on the challenging language of work and professionalism, where tone is, well, everything.
First up, we have a verb that describes persistent teaching. To drum into someone.
To drum into. When I first heard that phrase, I genuinely pictured a military instructor playing the drums at a recruit.
Haha. It's a very vivid image.
It is. So how is drum into different from just saying teach or repeat?
That's a perfect question to ask because the difference is everything.
Okay.
The difference lies in the persistence and the intensity.
Persistence and intensity.
Right. To teach is just a general transfer of knowledge. To repeat is merely saying it again.
Yep.
But to drum into someone, that means to teach something so persistently, often through, tireless repetition that it is absolutely remembered.
So it's like you're forcing the lesson until it sticks.
You are. You're forcing it into their long-term memory.
So it's about enforcement through repetition, making the lesson really sink in deep, maybe even overcoming some resistance from the person learning.
Precisely. Our source gives a great professional example for this.
Let's hear it.
Our boss always drums the importance of deadlines into our team. She repeats it hourly.
Hourly. Okay, yeah, that is definitely drumming it in. That's intense. So this idea of drumming something into yourself, which you mentioned, is really about a form of intense self-discipline.
It is. It's exactly what language learners are struggling to do, to drum new vocabulary and grammar rules into themselves.
I feel that. Okay, let's hear your 5 distinct examples to really understand the range of this verb. I want to see how it works in different situations.
Absolutely. We need to hear it in different registers to get the full flavor.
Okay.
Number 1, formal. The elite military academy drums safety and communication protocols into every new recruit until they can perform them perfectly under extreme high-pressure conditions.
Right, so that's life or death stuff. It has to be drummed in.
It's non-negotiable. Number 2, casual. My mom, who is a neat freak, drummed the need for quiet and organization during exams into me every spring when test season arrived, ensuring zero distractions.
Uh-huh. I think we all had a parent who drummed something into us. For me, it was close the door, you're letting the heat out.
I know that one well. Okay, number 3, a funny, weird one. I tried repeatedly to drum the cat's name, Muffin, into the dog, but it was unsuccessful. The dog still instinctively calls the cat dinner when it sees the food bowl.
Haha. Okay, so it implies the repetition failed in that case. The dog resisted.
The dog resisted. Number 4, historical. History, particularly difficult historical lessons like the importance of democracy, is often drummed into children through songs, repetition, and mnemonics to aid memorization of dates and facts.
Ah, like the alphabet song. That was definitely drummed into me.
It was drummed into all of us. And finally, number 5, the philosophical example. To live a disciplined and successful life, you must consciously drum confidence, positive visualization, and productive habits into yourself daily, overcoming innate laziness and mental resistance.
Wow. That last one really underscores that this is about internalizing concepts, often against your own, internal resistance, your own desire to be lazy.
Exactly. Now, shall we run a quick scenario?
Let's do it. A role play.
Okay. Skit. New rules. I'll be the manager, and I'm trying to ensure compliance before a big inspection.
And I'll be the new, completely overwhelmed employee who keeps forgetting the new procedures.
Okay, so we are 1 week from the annual compliance inspection. You keep forgetting the new 5-step filing system for client intake.
I know. I keep trying to remember the steps, but the new complex structure, it just won't stick in my head. I need like a mnemonic device or something.
We need to drum those procedure steps into you before the inspection. It's absolutely crucial for our rating. I can't stress enough how important this immediate, correct repetition is.
Okay. Can you run through the 5 steps one more time? I need that intense repetition. Maybe you could, I don't know, verbally quiz me over lunch. I need that constant reinforcement.
We absolutely need this system drummed in by Friday, so yes. Let's go over it every time we pass the filing cabinet. We cannot afford mistakes that reflect poorly on the team.
Okay, got it. Every time.
Every time.
Wow, that really sells the feeling of persistent, required teaching. It feels a little bit forceful.
It does. And that's part of the nuance.
So what are the key supporting words, what do you call them, collocations, the words we should attach to this phrase?
Yes, collocations. They are vital for natural use. So you often drum rules, procedures, the importance of something,
Right.
common sense, or core values into someone.
Okay.
The nuance here is critical. While it means effective teaching, it can feel slightly negative or forceful.
Yeah, I felt that in the role play.
It implies repetition against resistance or forgetfulness. So it's a powerful tool, but you'd use it carefully to reflect that intensity.
Got it. Forceful, persistent repetition. Okay, moving on to our second phrase, which is often used in that same high-pressure work environment. Stand in for.
Yes. Stand in for means to temporarily replace someone. Her manager asked her to stand in for Tim.
That's a classic workplace moment of panic. I've been there. But is stand in for exactly the same as replace? That seems like a very, very thin semantic line.
It is a critical distinction, and this is the spotlight moment you're looking for. The key distinction is that word, temporarily.
Okay.
If you replace someone, that implies a permanent change.
Right. Tim quit. He's gone forever.
Exactly. Tim quit, and Sophie took his job permanently. But if you stand in for someone, it's understood you are covering a role for a limited time.
A sick day, a vacation.
A sick day, a vacation, a maternity leave, exactly.
Yeah.
It implies a substitute role, not a permanent takeover.
So the phrase itself is the linguistic acknowledgement of a short-term, temporary substitution.
You've got it.
If I use replace, I sound like the person is gone forever. If I use stand in for, I sound like I know the original person will be back.
You have total command of the subtle difference now.
Okay, good. Let's have those 5 context flexibility examples then.
All right. Number 1, formal. Due to unforeseen logistical circumstances, the Vice President of Operations will formally stand in for the CEO at the International Trade Conference next month's opening address.
Okay, very official. The CEO isn't fired, he's just busy.
Justly. Number 2, casual. My brother has a doctor's appointment and asked me to help him move furniture, so can you please stand in for me on dish duty tonight? I'll owe you 2 favors.
A classic roommate negotiation.
It is. Number 3, funny weird. The tiny, slightly nervous Chihuahua had to unexpectedly stand in for the much larger, highly confident Basset Hound during the agility portion of the dog show, confusing the judges greatly.
I love that. A very temporary and probably unsuccessful stand-in.
Probably. Number 4, historical. During both world wars, women often had to stand in for men in heavy industries, factories, and emergency services, proving their capability in traditionally male roles for the duration of the conflict.
A really important historical example. They weren't replacing them permanently just for the duration.
Exactly. And number 5, philosophical. Sometimes a carefully chosen, simple analogy has to stand in for the ultimate, complex truth when that truth is too abstract or too dense for immediate human comprehension.
Wow, that's deep. So an analogy is a temporary substitute for a truth we can't grasp yet.
That's the idea.
I really appreciate how those examples show the flexibility. Let's hear it in action. Let's emphasize that temporary nature.
All right, skit. Taking the shift.
Okay.
Listen, Tim just called in. He's sick with what sounds like a nasty several-day bout of the flu. I need you to stand in for him tomorrow morning, starting at 9 a.m.
Me? But I don't know his complex client list or the intricacies of his daily tasks. I'm only familiar with my own work procedures.
You only need to cover the basic triage calls and forward the urgent emails. I'll help you prepare detailed notes so you can successfully stand in for the routine tasks without stress.
Okay. I'll take detailed notes on everything and study Tim's desk procedures tonight.
Look,
I definitely don't want to mess up the high priority tasks while I'm standing in for the interim.
excellent. It's strictly a temporary measure until Tim recovers, and we really appreciate you standing in during this sudden and chaotic gap.
That scenario felt very, very realistic. So, what are the collocations we associate most closely with stand in for?
You frequently stand in for a manager, a colleague, a specific shift, a specific role, or even an actor on stage. We call them understudies or stand-ins in theater contexts.
Ah, stand in. Makes sense.
The key nuance is that it strongly implies a substitute role. It acknowledges that the person filling the gap is usually doing so under pressure, or maybe without full knowledge of the permanent position's complexities.
Fantastic. Now, for the outcome of being forced to drum into yourself new procedures while standing in for a colleague, mental fatigue, and the urge to
Drift off.
drift off means to start to fall asleep, usually unintentionally. Sophie experienced this due to working long hours. The source says sometimes she'd drift off at her desk. She was so tired she couldn't keep her eyes open. Is this the same as doze off? Or slumber? They all sound like mild ways to fall asleep. What's the subtle difference here?
Another good distinction point. Slumber is very formal and often, poetic. Is reserved for deep, quiet sleep.
Like in a fairy tale.
Exactly. Doze off often suggests a slightly intentional, light, nap-like nodding off in a comfy chair after a big lunch.
Right, you're not fighting it too hard.
Not really. But drift off is much gentler. It often suggests the unconscious, smooth, almost subtle slipping away into sleep.
So the emphasis is on the loss of focus leading to sleep, rather than the deep sleep itself.
That's it, perfectly. It's about that gentle transition.
That connotation of a gentle slip is really useful. It's like the sound just fades out and you're gone.
Precisely.
Give us the 5 variations that capture that subtle fading away.
Okay. Number 1, formal. After the lengthy and highly technical presentation on macroeconomic policy, several attendees were quietly observed, starting to drift off in their comfortable chairs despite the critical nature of the topic.
I have definitely seen that happen at a conference, and maybe done it.
We all have. Number 2, casual. I always, without fail, drift off on long bus rides. The gentle, rhythmic vibration of the engine and road Instantly makes me drowsy and unable to stay awake.
Yep, me too. The train gets me every time.
Number 3, funny weird. My new high-tech phone keeps trying to drift off to sleep during important hands-free calls if I don't keep tapping the screen to keep it active.
Ah, personifying the phone. I like it. It's losing focus on the call.
Number 4, historical. Guards stationed on long, quiet, cold night watches often drifted off during the early hours of the morning, sometimes with serious consequences for military security.
Oh, that's a serious one. Unintentional sleep with huge consequences.
Absolutely. And number 5, philosophical. When facing a deep, existential, and mentally exhausting question, my mind often defensively drifts off into unrelated, more comfortable, and easily solved thoughts as a form of intellectual evasion.
That's a very relatable philosophical insight. The mind just escapes boredom or difficulty by giving up and wandering away.
It's a self-protection mechanism.
Let's role play a classic scenario of unintentional sleep.
All right, skit. The boring movie.
Okay.
That 3-hour documentary on ancient tree roots and soil composition was truly terrible, wasn't it? I thought I'd never escape the cinema.
Terrible. I wouldn't know the full scope of its terror. I totally drifted off right after the introduction to the first root system was complete.
I saw you. Your head was nodding violently and almost hit the person next to you. Did you really drift off after the first 10 minutes, or were you just, resting your eyes out of boredom?
Yes, I really did. I think the quiet, monotonous, ambient music, combined with the soothing academic voice of the narrator, just made me gently and unexpectedly drift off into a small, temporary nap.
Well, at least you get some rest. Next time we choose the movie, we should select something louder. Maybe an action movie with some explosions.
Yes, please. Perfect. So, collocations for this one.
You typically drift off to sleep, or you drift off during a lecture, a movie, a meeting, or perhaps a long, quiet car ride.
Right, boring situations.
Exactly. The key nuance is the gentle, quiet nature of falling asleep. It avoids the harshness of phrases like pass out or fall over.
Yeah.
It's used when the person wasn't actively trying to sleep, but their body just gently succumbed to overwhelming fatigue.
Got it. A gentle surrender to sleep. Let's shift gears from fatigue to highly emotional and intensely focused verbs, starting with one of the most fun and potentially most serious. Crack up.
This one is linguistically fantastic because it has two extremely different, almost opposite meanings.
Okay, I love these.
So crack up means to burst out laughing uncontrollably,
Right, the fun one.
or to suffer a nervous breakdown or mental collapse due to excessive, sustained stress.
Whoa, that is a huge difference. So when Sophie's colleagues told a funny story and the source says everyone started to crack up, that was massive, uncontrolled laughter.
Correct.
But in a psychological context, it means collapse. How is crack up as laughter different from, say, a giggle or a chuckle?
Well, giggling and chuckles are contained. They're quiet, often polite, and usually voluntary forms of amusement.
Right, you can control a chuckle.
You can. But to crack up implies a sudden, massive, and involuntary explosion of laughter. It's impossible to stop.
The kind where you can't breathe.
Exactly. It often involves tears, maybe snorting, and a physical inability to function normally. It suggests the humor or the absurdity of the situation just completely overwhelmed you.
So you definitely need to specify the context if you are using the serious meaning. Although I guess usually the situation makes it pretty clear.
Yes, the context acts as the necessary filter.
Yeah.
No one usually confuses. He told a hilarious, absurd joke and cracked up the whole room with, he worked 80 hours a week for 6 months straight and then finally cracked up.
Right, that would be a very dark joke.
Very dark. So let's run the 5 examples, and let's start with the more serious, emotional collapse side.
Okay.
Number 1, formal psychology. He eventually cracked up after months of non-stop, unrelenting stress and the severe lack of personal or professional boundaries, forcing him to seek immediate professional care.
A very clear link to our burnout topic.
A direct link. Number 2, casual laughter. The ridiculous, poorly timed, self-deprecating joke was so unexpected and truly absurd, it made the entire family crack up instantly, reducing them to tears.
The good kind of tears.
The good kind. Number 3, funny weird. The poodle's miniature hand-knitted Superman costume was so poorly designed and constructed, it made the whole neighborhood crack up laughing every time the poor dog tried to walk past them.
Uh-huh. I can picture that. The poor dog.
Number 4, historical. The unrelenting economic and mental stress of the 1929 financial crash caused many otherwise stable investors and businessmen to literally crack up, leading to significant, widespread mental health crises.
So it's used for large-scale societal stress as well.
It is. And number 5, philosophical. The sheer, often hilarious absurdity and ultimate meaninglessness of the human condition sometimes makes one want to simply crack up laughing hysterically at the futility of it all.
Wow. Okay. Spanning comedy and tragedy. Let's focus on the fun side for the role play, but maybe in a high-stakes setting where you're not supposed to laugh.
Perfect. Skit. The client meeting.
Oh, this is going to be good.
So, did you see what the client, Mr. Henderson, was wearing today? His tie had actual flashing Christmas lights sewn into it.
No.
Yes, even though it's August.
Oh my gosh. I know. I had to cover my mouth so tightly, it was almost painful, so I wouldn't instantly crack up and totally ruin the professional atmosphere we were trying to maintain.
It was impossible.
Right?
I thought I was going to physically crack up right in the middle of the critical pitch. When he tried to adjust the blinking Santa head on his lapel, I nearly fell out of my chair.
We just kept making panicked eye contact across the table. If you had truly cracked, tears, snorting, the whole thing, we would have certainly lost the multi-million-dollar contract.
Well, thank goodness we held it together, but my stomach muscles hurt for an hour straight from trying not to crack up.
Fantastic demonstration of the pressure to not crack up. What are the key collocations and nuances?
Usually crack up laughing, or you crack up under pressure. A funny story, a comedian, or an absurd event cracks someone up. The key nuance is that extreme difference in meaning. Always confirm the context. And when it's used for mental collapse, it is a very serious idiom, implying a failure to cope with sustained mental strain.
Okay, now for two verbs about starting something. One is about action, the other is about research. First up, dive into.
Dive into means to start doing something, usually a task or project, with a lot of energy, immediate focus, and enthusiasm. Sophie's team in the source had to dive into a new project right after their stressful meeting concluded.
Is dive into the same as simply start? Like, if I'm writing an email, can I say, I'm going to dive into this email?
You could, but it might sound a bit overly dramatic unless the email is particularly long or complex.
Uh-huh.
The spotlight here is on the rapid, intense, and immediate start. To start can be slow, cautious, deliberate.
Right.
To dive into suggests immediate, enthusiastic, full immersion. Think of physically diving into a swimming pool. You commit fully, quickly, and head first.
Head first. I like that. Let's hear the 5 examples showing that full commitment and rapid intensity.
Okay. Number 1, formal. The newly restructured research team will immediately dive into the critical data analysis next week, hoping to meet the greatly accelerated timeline laid out by the director.
So no hesitation, just go.
Just go. Number 2, casual. Forget the complicated, unsustainable diet plan. I'm ready to totally dive into this massive double cheese pepperoni pizza right now.
Haha, a much more pleasurable dive.
Indeed. Number 3, funny weird. The overly confident, slightly arrogant pigeon decided to dive into the public fountain headfirst, seemingly forgetting midair that it couldn't swim very well.
A bad decision, but a committed one.
Very committed. Number 4, historical. Immediately after the final ceasefire was declared and the papers signed, leaders dove into intense, high-stakes peace negotiations, knowing time was short to solidify the fragile agreement.
The sense of urgency there, they had to dive in.
They had to. And number 5, philosophical. We must be brave enough and committed enough to immediately dive into uncomfortable, self-critical truths about ourselves if we ever wish to achieve authentic self-improvement and growth.
It truly emphasizes immediate engagement and velocity. Let's demonstrate that intensity and commitment in a skit.
Right. Skit. Project launch.
I'm honestly nervous about this enormous, complex presentation that's due on Monday. The sheer volume of supporting material and graphs is It's intimidating.
I get it. But we're suffering from planning paralysis. We need to stop drawing flowcharts, stop organizing, and just dive into the actual writing phase of the report. That's the bottleneck right now.
You're absolutely right. Okay, let's grab another coffee and dive into the first section, Chapter 1, Methodology, right now with zero distractions until lunch.
Exactly. That is the energy we need. Once we dive in, the sheer momentum of action will help us carry through the inevitable fatigue. Planning paralysis is officially over.
Momentum is key. Okay, collocations and nuance for dive into.
You usually dive into a project, a book, new work, a pool, or a specific topic. The idiom implies immersion or immediate, high-energy engagement.
Right.
It's an active choice to stop procrastinating and fully commit, which is a great metaphor for the start of language practice, actually. It really is. And finally, the sister phrase, delve into. If dive into is about velocity, how does delve into differ?
Well, dive into is about the physical start or the action. Delve into is highly specific to searching deeply, meticulously, and analytically for information or data.
Ah, okay.
Sophie, in the story, realized she needed to delve into the quarterly reports to understand everything, often requiring significant overtime.
So dive into is the aggressive start, and delve into is the meticulous intellectual search that follows.
Perfect comparison.
One is speed, the other is the vertical depth of the research.
You've got it. Delve into emphasizes detailed, meticulous research and exploration, not just starting. It means you're going deep into the layers of data.
Okay, give me the 5 expansion examples for that deep dive.
Right. Delve into, number 1, formal. Investigative scholars and historians continue to delve into ancient, fragmented texts and newly discovered artifacts for subtle variations in historical meaning.
So very careful, detailed work. Very. Number 2, casual. Before we commit to buying a new high-mileage car, we should definitely delve into the online customer reviews and all the detailed crash safety reports first.
Good advice. Do your homework.
Absolutely. Number 3, funny weird. I had to delve into the terrifying darkness and chaos of the junk drawer for 45 minutes to finally locate that specific, tiny battery required for the television remote control.
Uh-huh. An archaeological dig in the junk drawer. I've been there.
We all have. Number 4, historical. Archaeologists tirelessly delve into the ruins of ancient cities, sifting through layers of soil and pottery, looking for small, previously unnoticed clues about daily life and culture.
That's the perfect image for it. Sifting through layers.
And number 5, philosophical. The greatest minds throughout history constantly delve into the fundamental, unanswered mysteries of the universe, knowing the rigor of the deep search is as important as the answer itself.
That image of digging through layers of soil or, spreadsheets really captures the need for meticulous detail.
Sort of skit. Research time. I simply cannot figure out why our Q3 sales figures suddenly dropped by 10% compared to Q2. It makes no surface sense given our marketing spend.
You're looking too shallowly at the summary slides. You need to stop staring at the top-line data and delve into last quarter's individual customer reports and the raw transaction spreadsheets. They hold the real complex answer. Ugh, it's so much data. I foresee myself spending all night meticulously delving into those massive, intimidating spreadsheets, looking for one small, anomalous error or a hidden pattern.
But the deeper you delve into the specifics of the consumer behavior and the geographical data, the clearer the unexpected pattern will become. It requires patience and close, sustained attention to detail.
Meticulous is definitely the key word there. So what are the common uses?
You typically delve into reports, data, details, history, or a complex subject. The key nuance is that this is usually academic, professional, or complex exploration. It's not for superficial topics. It demands sustained, focused intellectual engagement.